Stick to the question, sir. This court doesn't need a war story, the judge snapped, voice sharp and impatient. The man on the witness stand blinked slowly, a worn suit hanging loosely on a frame that had once carried body armor. His knuckles were white around the edge of the stand. He didn't speak. The courtroom stirred, whispers shifting in seats. The judge leaned forward, tapping his gavel once. You will answer only what's asked, no more. The veteran nodded once, jaw clenched. Yes, Your Honor. His voice was steady but low, each word landing with the weight of someone who had learned to measure silence. The defense attorney smirked, confident now. The case was leaning their way. After all, who listens to an old soldier who can't even finish a sentence? But then came the question. State your name for the record. The courtroom expected something simple. John. Bill. Maybe a quiet nod. Instead, the man raised his head, met the judge's eyes, and said clearly, Lieutenant Colonel Matthew Dane, retired. Former commander of the 3rd Recon Unit, 5th Special Forces Group, call sign Raven 6. It was immediate, complete. The judge froze mid-note. The court clerk slowly lifted her eyes. A man in the back pew stood slightly, as if to see better. Even the jury sat straighter, the smugness draining from the defense attorney's face. The name wasn't just a name, it was history. Matthew Dane had once led one of the most classified extraction operations in U.S. military history. A mission whispered in halls where clearance badges outnumbered clocks. His team had recovered an American diplomat from a terrorist cell with 0 casualties and vanished into the desert before satellites could capture it. His name hadn't been spoken publicly in years. The judge cleared his throat. Colonel, apologies. You may continue. Matthew nodded, not with pride, but with the weight of someone who didn't care about recognition. He resumed his testimony, quietly, simply, recounting what he saw the night in question. Not once did he mention rank again, not once did he pull the flag or the sacrifice card. He just told the truth. It wasn't a military trial. It was a civilian dispute. A wrongful eviction where a landlord had thrown out a disabled veteran without notice, claiming damage to the property. Matthew had witnessed it, saw the vet on the curb with his belongings, trembling in cold, trying to salvage medals from a cardboard box. When police arrived, the landlord lied, said he gave notice, said the vet was drunk, said no one saw it. But Matthew had. And when he tried to explain the emotional weight, the disgrace of seeing another soldier treated like trash, the judge had cut him off, until his name said what he wasn't allowed to. After his testimony, no one spoke for a full minute. Not the prosecution, not the defense. Even the stenographer sat frozen, unsure whether to resume typing. The verdict was delivered the next day. The veteran was awarded full damages. The landlord was fined and later sued. And Judge Harold Myers quietly issued an apology, a rare handwritten letter sent to Matthew's home. But that wasn't what changed everything. What changed was what happened outside the courtroom. As Matthew walked down the courthouse steps, a crowd had gathered. Veterans, young and old, some in uniform, some in hospital chairs. One of them stepped forward, a young woman with a missing arm and a trembling chin. She saluted him. Sir, I read about Raven 6 in training. We didn't think you were real. Matthew shook her hand instead. I'm real, just like you. Someone filmed that moment. It went viral. News stations dug up old footage. Silent hero speaks in civil case. Hashtags lit up across platforms. Veterans told their stories. Wrongful evictions, ignored benefits, missed care. Matthew hadn't planned it, but his voice had opened a door. Weeks later, he was asked to speak at a Senate hearing on veterans' housing rights. He refused press, declined interviews. He didn't want fame. He wanted reform. But wherever he walked, people stood up. Because when someone who has survived war stands up for someone still fighting life, silence turns to attention. They had called him just a witness. Then he said his name. And the courtroom and the world remembered what respect sounds like. Before we end this story, let us know in the comment, where are you watching from? If this story gave you chills, subscribe to the channel and hit that like button and drop a karma in the comments below.